Hello everyone and welcome to the top 10 films of 1949 and 1950. It's got to be said that this wasn't the most interesting of eras. Is there some films that I'm missing? Because ultimately I have only seen 16 films from this time period, so I'm only just scratching the surface. But before we get into it, we do have some sad news. Victor Fleming was a massive innovator for the technical side of film. I definitely consider him to be the one who really established the look of Technicolor. His films are pretty good. His philosophies are pretty flawed, but yeah, influential person, so you have to kind of give him his credit where credit is due, but also fuck him. Victor Fleming died in 1949, aged 59. And Al Jolson, someone who I don't really understand how big this guy was. Apparently he was the original Elvis, but I have never really heard of him beyond The Jazz Singer. The first ever talking film. Again, we have to give credit where credit is due. He was an important part of the development of cinema, so yeah, rest in peace, Al Jolson. And again, there's things about him that haven't aged quite so well. Al Jolson died in 1950 at age 64. So at number 10 we have In a Lonely Place. So this is directed by Nicholas Ray, who famously directed Rebel Without a Cause. So the concept is promising. Humphrey Bogart is this alcoholic screenwriter who's been accused of murder.
You're told that the girl you were with last night was found in Benedict Canyon, murdered, dumped from a moving car. What's your reaction? Shock? Horror? Sympathy? No. Just petulance at being questioned. A couple of feeble jokes. You puzzle me, Mr. Steele.
Well, I grant you the jokes could have been better, but I don't see why the rest should worry you. That is, unless you plan to arrest me for lack of emotion.
I don't really have a lot to say about this, apart from Bogart was obviously great in it. His downbeat delivery just really works for this very cynical character, who seems to not care about anything, but there's a little touch of warmth about him. He is just very well suited for this story.
I'm sorry about tonight. It'll never happen again. I shouldn't have hit Mel. I shouldn't have picked up the telephone. It wasn't any of my business. I don't know why
The central question throughout, as you might imagine, is did he do it? Did Bogart kill someone, or was he framed? But to be honest, by the end, I simply lost interest. I think there was this intention to conjure up this slow, dreary atmosphere. In other words, it was boring. At number 9, we have Kind Hearts and Coronets, a comedy from Ealing Studios, where we follow Louis, the 10th Duke of Chalfont, who's writing his memoirs in a prison cell. So then the story is told through flashback, and we get to see how he came to earn this title of Duke, and why is he in prison? He came from a less fortunate background compared to his noble successors. After his mum dies, he goes on a killing spree, eliminating any potential successors, all of which are played by Alec Guinness, mentioned him before, Star Wars bloke.
There was the Duke. There was my employer, Lord Escoyne d'Escoyne. There was Admiral Lord Horatio d'Escoyne. There was General Lord Rufus d'Escoyne. There was Lady Agatha d'Escoyne. Shh. And in the pulpit, talking interminable nonsense, the Reverend Lord Henry d'Escoyne.
The life cut short was one rich in achievement and promise of service to humanity.
I do think it was a good move to start with the protagonist having this Duke title. By doing that, that central hook shifts from, oh, is he going to manage to do it? Will he be able to pull this off? To, how does he pull this off? And I think it's trying to bring out the evil in us by making us like, ooh, I want the murder, I want to see it. Well, how does this happen? I like that conceptually, but the killings themselves, I mean, some of them are pretty cool, but most of them, maybe I'm just from the wrong generation. Maybe I'm too desensitized for this. At number 8, Cinderella. I'm sure this one doesn't need much introduction. It's the Disney film with the glass slipper. So Cinderella is dreaming of attending this fancy royal ball, but her stepmom and ugly stepsisters are kind of getting in the way of that. But luckily, as fate would have it, there's a fairy godmother who makes all her wishes come true. The core melody in this is very similar to the Snow White one, but I'm not complaining about that because I actually really like it. I found the animals in this very annoying, felt like filler, shitty Tom and Jerry ripoff, and I didn't find them to be utilised very well. As a comedy relief duo, they might have worked if they stayed on the sidelines and didn't take up so much of the time. The Cinderella plot was where all the interesting story and good animation was actually at. Something that really bothered me watching this was I thought that Cinderella's dress was blue. Mandela effect? I actually think what happened was I've not seen this before. I'd watched Cinderella 2, always thinking it was the original. At number 7, we have The Third Man. I thought I really liked this film, but rewatching it, I found it just fine. So this stars Joseph Cotton visiting a friend in post-war Vienna. Upon arrival, he discovers that actually his friends died.
10 minutes too late. Already gone. Who? His friends. And coffin. Coffin? Mr. Limes. An accident. Knocked over by a car. He in front of the house. Have seen it myself. Killed at once, immediately.
But he's kind of suspicious about the story he's been told. There's holes in this. Is this his grief making him irrational? Is there actually something at play here? Spoiler alert, his friend is alive and he's played by Orson Welles.
Soms was heute nie überhaupt ein. Sind Sie deppert? Ja, Sie meine ich, schon nicht so blöd. Eine Frechheit ist das, mitten in der Nacht so einen Krawall zu machen.
Harry!
His role in this was pretty small, but that stuff was where the film truly shined. Like, I'm just gonna go ahead and say this was badly paced. Some good twists and turns within this, but large sections of it just dragged. The romance especially I thought was really dull, really generic. The biggest selling point of this is definitely the visuals, some cool intense Dutch angle dialogue scenes, a lot of great lighting. This era has definitely been notable for that, but usually it's been about how Shadow paints the characters and the storytelling that comes with that. But now we're kind of applying that to the city of Vienna. Vienna is the character. At number 6 we have Harvey, another feel-good comedy with James Stewart at the heart of it. He's a quirky man, branded insane by his high-class family for having this imaginary friend, a 6-foot-tall rabbit named Harvey. It's the family version of Donnie Darko.
And now, Aunt Ethel, I'd like you to meet Harvey. Harvey, you've heard me speak of Aunt Ethel Chauvenet. She's one of my oldest and dearest friends. She's the one who... Him? That's right. Well, this is the one. No, she's the one.
So his sister's trying to find solutions to his brother's problem, but really she's just as quirky in her own right. What an energetic, playful performance.
Mrs. Simmons, if I'm not mistaken,
Doctor, don't you understand? The rabbit's name is Harvey. Harvey lives at our house. Elwood buys theater tickets and railroad tickets for both of them. He's lost interest in everything else. And here I am trying to get Myrtle May started with a nice group of young people.
And so because of how she is, her plan completely backfires. The doctor thinks that she's the crazy one, and so she's sent to an asylum. I do like this film's subtle attack on the institutions. The doctor's mix-up with the sister and brother is just revealing of this broken system. As the film unfolds, we see how maybe James Stewart isn't so crazy. Maybe he's wiser than we all thought. He might be a bit strange, but how's he hurting anyone? What's the problem with that? What's wrong with being a bit quirky?
That's envy, my dear. There's a little bit of envy in the best of us. That's too bad.
At number 5, White Heat. You guys remember James Cagney? It's been 10 years since his last film and he's back. Once again, Cagney is a gangster, but this time he's got a weird relationship with his mum. We open on an intense, exciting train robbery which leaves a member of the gang scolded, and so this turns into evidence that leads to his arrest. I found this story pretty familiar, but there were enough interesting characters and iconic performances from Cagney, like when he finds out that his mum is dead. But I really did start to find that familiarity grating towards the end. Kinda just turned into the same old, I have nothing to lose, I'm on top of the world, Scarface, Public Enemy.
Come and get me!
It's just kinda done at this point. But this is still another good classic gangster film that sits neatly in the Cagney collection. At number 4, 12 O'Clock High, a proper World War II classic. We follow an American aircrew who are losing to the Nazis. You really get a sense of how recent World War II is to the people who are making this.
We got hit pretty bad the first pass the FWs made. That was when Mac got it. It took the back of his head right off. Only he didn't pass out, it just made a crazy man out of him. He was still shouting orders and trying to get the controls away from Jesse when I got up there 2 hours later.
So it's overall revolving around a pretty heavy-handed character, General Savage, played masterfully by Gregory Peck. First time I've mentioned him, he'll be coming up a few more times I expect. He's ruthless, bitter, unfair, but comes off kind of broken inside.
I hate a man like you so much that I'm gonna get your head down in the mud and trample it. I'm gonna make you wish you'd never been born.
If that's all, sir.
I'm just getting started.
But this is what I think is really good about it, is he is being celebrated as simultaneously a hero, but also criticised for his unsympathetic nature. And what the film does such a good job at highlighting is that, you know, love or hate him, General Savage was necessary. And so where does the problem lie? It kind of raises bigger questions about the system, the power dynamics between the general and his people, and then the people behind the general. Very subtle, quite clever, quite fun war film that maybe loses its rhythm at times, but this is kind of what I wanted from The Grand Illusion.
That wingtip of Baxter's has been tickling me right in the ribs for 3 days now, man. I'm getting mighty tired of it.
That's a telling them, Birdie.
Yeah, and another thing I noticed. For folks that talks a lot about other people's ability as a pilot, that there general seems mighty willing not to do any of it himself. Looks like we just got ourselves a talking general. Stack it in there now!
At number 3, we have The Young and the Damned. Directed by Louis Buñuel. His name came up briefly before I reviewed his short surrealist film that he did with Salvador Dali. This time there's proper story, proper characters, proper setting. It's about these kids who are growing up in the slums of Mexico City. The first act is relatively relatable regardless of where you come from, when you come from. It's just kids being kids, and there's some morally questionable stuff happening, like them picking on this blind man. But then things really take a turn when one kid accidentally kills another kid. So this protagonist, who is quite passive in this film, just being sort of shaped around his circumstances. Particularly great moment is when we're seeing the grieving dad, drunk on the streets and desperate for answers. I don't tend to do this, but I decided to watch this film on the train, and there's this old lady sort of sat across from me, and she sort of caught me watching this old film, and I could see in her face that she was like, oh, it's so nice to see a younger person watching a film from the good old days kind of thing. And then there was this fucking scenes where this kid's beating a chicken to death, and it's fully showing it, real life chicken just being beaten to death by a stick. I won't show it on here for obvious reasons. There was some really nice inventive little touches in here, like the shot of the kid throwing an egg at the camera, and these ominous dream sequences. At number 2, we have Bitter Rice, an Italian neorealism. We've got talking directly to the audience, the camera's flying around, but it's still got that documentary vibe with its real-life subject matter, which is women working on a rice field, and on-location filming. It's going for a more newsreel style, a sensationalized naturalism. I really enjoy how it blends those two extremes. It's probably best summarized with these glamorous film star women in hard labor. So this attractive couple are on the run. It's this whole romance drama set in the backdrop of this rice harvest. I love the characters, especially the central bad bitches. However, I have got some minor nitpicks. In this sort of standoff scene in the dark, how are these characters not seeing each other? Come on. The fake rain looks pretty good in the static shots, but then there's these certain shots where the camera's moving and the rain's like moving with it. It just feels so wrong. You can tell that the rain machine's moving with the camera. With the overall goal of this, I think, being to humanize an underrepresented group of people from this era. Their work goes unnoticed. And so let's get everyone watching by having these two sexy baddies. What's wrong with that? And finally at number 1 we have Sunset Boulevard, Billy Wilder's most iconic film. So we open on a murder, a floating body in the pool, and then it flashbacks into the screenwriter's story. He's desperate for money and needs some ideas for his new script. The debt collectors come after him, and so fate sends him into this mysterious driveway on Sunset Boulevard. And so this writer and forgotten actress form this odd relationship together. I'd say this is probably Wilder's best film. The narration is wonderfully written and performed.
There was something else going on below. The last rites for that hairy old chimp, performed with the utmost seriousness, as if she were laying to rest an only child. Was her life really as empty as that?
And the characters are so distinctive and interesting. Playing washed-up versions of themselves, we've got Erich von Stroheim and Buster Keaton, both of whom I've covered on this series. But stealing the show has to be Gloria Swanson as Norma Desmond, an aging film star stuck in the past. The way she plays it, in this very expressionist, silent acting kind of way, but automatically modernised by current technology and Wilder's direction.
What you're trying to say is you don't want me to love you. Say it. Say it!
She's an embodiment of how far things have come, and also the people who were left behind.
Still wonderful, isn't it? And no dialogue. We didn't need dialogue. We had faces.
The rightfully famous ending really brings all those ideas together. One of the first proper films about Hollywood. It's meta in a really intelligent way, and a massive inspiration on Mulholland Drive. I'm sorry, I have to nerd out a little bit about Mulholland Drive and stuff. Yeah, it's a clear inspiration, the title, the setting, the attack on the industry. And this is also why Lynch named himself Gordon Cole in Twin Peaks.
Get Gordon Cole.
What a great way to round off my reviews and analysis of the 1940s with a film looking back on the past, but looking forward to the future. I also just want to mention Nancy Olsen, who plays Betty in this. She is still alive at age 97. I think that's the second person I've covered on this show that's still alive. But yeah, this is excellent. Check it out. Sunset Boulevard is a masterpiece.
Hey, Miss Desmond! Miss Desmond! It's me! It's Hawkeye!
Hello, Hawkeye!
Let's get a good look at you!
Look, there's Norma Desmond.
Norma Desmond. Norma Desmond.
Why, I thought she was dead.
How nice to see you.
Welcome home, Miss Desmond. You remember me, don't you?
Miss Desmond.
Hello.
She's a wonderful. Oh, Mr. Wilcox.
Well, I think that's me done. I've really enjoyed reviewing all these films from the 40s, but I'm not done just yet. We've still got the top 10 worst films of the 1940s coming very soon. Check out the rest of the series if you're interested, and if you've got any films you want me to cover in the 50s, now's the time to start letting me know. It's been a great time. Thank you for watching. I think that's all from me.